Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to walk through 5 different service providers that you can use to file your taxes this year in 2024 for the 2023 tax filing year. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's go. I figured I would just go online and show you guys the website for each of these services so that you actually get a feel for the company, what it looks like when you might be filing, and everything that they offer. I'm starting here with TurboTax. It's the first one that CNBC lists, and you guys know that I use TurboTax every single year. And not that I'm promoting it, but it's just always been, for some reason, what my parents use, and so then they taught me to use it, and I use it from, since I was younger till now. And so I haven't ever filed with anyone else before. It's been easy enough. I've learned the system so well that I just always automatically go to TurboTax. Not saying it's the best, but I think it is the most common just because it's been around so long and because there's so much exposure to the service and the company that people just think TurboTax when they think about tax time. So if you haven't been to TurboTax before, this is what the website looks like. They have a lot of just kind of guarantees, a lot of promises, a lot of reviews here. And you can look at things like pricing if that's your concern. You can see that they've got all these different options. They list what's included in each of them and their guarantees. CNBC says that the first big pro to TurboTax is that it's step-by-step and it's easy for most people. And I always say that when I'm doing my tutorials, that it's very simple. If you take the time to just sit down and follow their prompts, almost anyone can do it. I will say that if you have more complicated filing, of course it's going to be complicated, but for the average person, you could get through it. It might take a little bit longer than you hope, but it's step-by-step enough that you can figure it out. And they make it for that. They advertise it for that anyone really can do it. It's so that people can file on their own and kind of feel proud about that. And so I love that about TurboTax. You guys know this. I say this all the time. And CNBC agrees that this is one of the biggest reasons that TurboTax is as great as it is because of its user-friendly, step-by-step, easy process. You can actually see it on this page here, but this live assisted basic, you get free tax advice to a certain degree with TurboTax. And one of the great things about it, alongside how easy it is that they do offer support, whether it be through chat, live video, or just their forums. You can always find some kind of help to guide you along the way when you have any questions. And that's another big pro to TurboTax. The last big pro to TurboTax is that they offer audit assistance and a guarantee that they will help you through whatever audit you might face from the IRS if there are any issues at all. So it's always kind of just something to keep on the back burner to think about. If I, worst case scenario, if I have to go through an audit, TurboTax will be there to help me through that, because it's not only a stressful time, but you might not know what to do and how to provide what it is that you need to provide to the IRS, and TurboTax will be there to back you up. I'm just going to go back to the home screen here. The biggest con about TurboTax is that it's one of the more costly programs, and so if price is your big factor into who you're going to file with, how you're going to file, keep that in mind. That pricing can be a lot higher than other software. Alongside that, the pro of having that live expert to help you if you need it also comes with the con that some of that, the more in-depth help, does cost money. It's not completely free. And so again, if price point is the big factor for you, TurboTax might not be it. Next up is H&R Block, and I've also done a tutorial on this, and so I've never actually filed with them, but I've done it and walked through it so that you guys can figure out how to do it. And I've always loved, I joke about this, I love that H&R Block is green. You guys know TurboTax is like bright red. I don't know why they chose bright red. If you're going to be judgmental and picky like me, then I just love the green that H&R Block has. It's something small, but I feel like it makes you feel as at ease, and it's just very good design for a stressful process like filing your taxes. I think their website is actually a lot cleaner. It doesn't have all the craziness of TurboTax. It's really just like straight to, get your max refund, file on your own, file with Tax Pro, and then plans are right here. I feel like there's not a lot of extra stuff like TurboTax had. It's kind of just very straightforward. get to the point of, hey, it's easy. Here are the plans. I don't have to click a different tab to get there. Like TurboTax, they offer things like personal taxes, small business taxes, all the different options you might need to get your taxes done. And H&R Block actually has physical locations, and CNBC says they have over 11,000 locations that you can actually go to and get someone to help you talk to them in person, because sometimes that's just easier to be like, hey, here's everything I have on my finances. Can you just help me? Not everyone wants to do it on their own online, or if you do it online and you get stuck and you need help, chatting online or video calls gets to be its own thing. So if you want to, you can actually click here and find an office and go in and find one, and you just enter your information and find the closest one to you and see if that works for you. So I think that's a great option that TurboTax doesn't offer. And it's good to know that if you're someone who likes to go in person and talk with people face to face. H&R Block has two really cool features, things that they guarantee. The first is that you're going to get your maximum refund, and if you don't, they're going to refund anything that you paid for their services to get your taxes done. So that's really cool. You know that you're getting the best refund, or they're going to refund you your fees. I honestly don't know how you would figure out if you're getting your maximum refund or not. I feel like you'd have to go back somewhere else and try to, pretend file online with somewhere and see kind of what your refund would be, or redo it via H&R Block. But it's great to have that guarantee. The other guarantee is that everything's going to be accurate. It's 100% accuracy, or they will reimburse you any penalty fees or interest. So those are great from H&R Block. TurboTax does not guarantee those two things, so it kind of sets H&R Block apart from them because they are so similar and they're kind of targeting the same audience. Those are two things that H&R Block does do. Lastly, like TurboTax, H&R Block does offer online support in the form of live chats, video feeds, the forums that they have, all very, very similar. So it's always great to know that if you do have questions, there's going to be support there for you. The cons of H&R Block are actually the exact same as TurboTax. They're one of the pricier tax services that you can opt for, and all those extra features with experts that are helping you kind of guide you through are going to cost extra. And so keep that in mind, again, if price point is the key factor in deciding what program you're going to use. Next up, we have Cash App Taxes. Their big thing is that they offer 100% free tax filing with a maximum refund guarantee. Unlike H&R Block and TurboTax, everything is free from start to finish, and that is their big, big point. They've got a cool estimate your refund button here. Their color is purple, in case you care, and it actually stems off the Cash App, so it's Cash App Taxes. It's a little bit adjusted for taxes in general. I've never used this, but I'm kind of intrigued. I've never even stumbled across this service or website until I came to this article and saw this. In case you're wondering, Cash App Taxes is a fast, easy, 100% free way to file federal and state taxes. We've done over 10 million returns without charging anyone a penny to file their federal and state taxes. How long does it take? It depends on your tax situation. How is it different? It's free to file, basically. Even if you sold stocks or Bitcoin, they're giving you all this information. We're free no matter what, even if you're super complicated and have things like stocks or Bitcoin. I love that. So do you need to download the Cash App? You'll need to download Cash App to log in and use Cash App Taxes. If you don't already have it, download the app and then create a login to get started. After downloading, you can file your taxes from your phone or computer. So that's good to know. I was going to say, I don't think I would like to file my taxes on my phone. I'm just old school like that, and I want to see a bigger screen. So yeah. So yeah, everything's free. What about security? All this good stuff. I'm exploring because this is the first time I've been to their website, but I love the purple. I love the fact that it's free. This might be something that I have to try this year because I haven't even seen it, and I know that a lot of people are looking for a completely free option. So this is good to know. There are two big cons with Cash App Taxes. The first is that there's no expert help. So if this is your first time and you don't really know what you're doing, you have a lot of questions. It's not like TurboTax. It's not like H&R Block where you can just kind of look to chat with someone about a question you have. There's no expert advice. Obviously, that's probably why it's free, because they don't have to pay extra people to be helping anyone file online. So if you need that extra help, Cash App Taxes is probably not for you. They're not going to have anyone to help you along the side or any kind of forums to guide you through it. The other big con is that Cash App Taxes is only available in 40 of the 50 states in the US. So depending on where you live, you might not even be able to use this service. And even if you do qualify, if you lived in a state that you didn't work in or you didn't earn your money, let's say you lived like me, if you're in Minnesota and then you worked in Wisconsin, you wouldn't be able to file with Cash App Taxes because you didn't live in the state you earned money in. Or if you moved during the year, if I lived in Minnesota, then I moved to Wisconsin, I would not be able to file with Cash App Taxes because I moved in the middle of the year. Or lastly, if I had 2 different jobs and I lived in Minnesota the whole year, but I worked in Minnesota and Wisconsin and got money from both states, then I wouldn't be able to file with Cash App Taxes. That definitely does narrow down the audience for Cash App Taxes, the people that can use it, but I think it's still a great option for anyone who does qualify, who did live in the same state and work in the same state and move. And I think it's great that it's a free option that doesn't look as low budget, if that's a good way to say it, as low budget as some of the websites that the IRS lists. I might actually try this and do a tutorial or even file my taxes with this. So I'm kind of excited just sitting here walking through this website. Cash App Taxes actually used to be Credit Karma Taxes, but they changed to the name Cash App Taxes. So if you're wondering if this company is trustworthy, yes, they are. They originated from Credit Karma, which has been around for a while as well. And now they are named Cash App Taxes, and they are purple instead of the green like they used to be, which is great because now we can differentiate them from H&R Block. Next up is TaxSlayer. You guys know TaxSlayer because if you've been on my channel, because I've done a tutorial with TaxSlayer. I love the name TaxSlayer. I think it's so funny. They're a little, like, I don't even know what it is. It looks like the little, helmet, like a Mandalorian thing over there. But this is another one that I didn't know existed until a few years ago. And it's similar to H&R Block and TurboTax in the sense that you start for $0 and then you kind of go up as you need more. So you can see in products and pricing, oh, there we go. Classic, premium, military, simply free, self-employed. The more you pay, the more in-depth they're going to go into looking at your finances, just like H&R Block, just like TurboTax. You're going to get kind of the most bang for your buck as you go into it, because simple filings are great. They include all your stuff you're going to get, just standardized returns, but you might not be getting all the credits you could if you went into it a little bit deeper. But again, that hits the price point that some people might not be able to pay for or be willing to pay for. And so that is something to keep in mind. Big pros on TaxSlayer from CNBC. There are cheaper plans. So if we're comparing it to the big two, the H&R Block and TurboTax, they're a little bit cheaper. There's more affordable pricing. Like I showed you earlier, it's classic, premium, military, simply free, and self-employed. And so if you want to stay in a cheaper filing, you can do that, not to have to pay extra fees like the other two. There are low state filing fees. There's one-on-one support, just like the other two providers, that if you need extra help, you can get it through Tax Pros, but that does only happen if you're choosing certain plans. And lastly, like H&R Block, you get that audit support, you get the maximum guarantee, and that 100% accuracy guarantee that H&R Block also advertises. So those are all great things to know going into it, to kind of feel at ease that you are protected and you're getting the most money back, or paying the least amount that you should. TaxSlayer has only one real big con, and the big con is that you are only going to get those experts if you are on premium plans. So you do have to pay more to have expert help. If you think you're going to need that, keep that in mind. But it is the same thing as TurboTax and H&R Block. So either way you go, if you need help, because other websites like Cash App don't offer that help, if you need help, you're going to pay a little more. But it kind of just makes sense that, you need to dive in deeper. You need someone to guide you along the way, and therefore you have to pay a small fee for that. The last one I'm going to go through is TaxAct. And this one is very similar to the other ones. They're all kind of looking at the same audience, and this one offers the same guarantee that it's going to be accurate or you get reimbursed for any penalties, just like H&R Block said. And you also get that maximum refund guarantee that you're going to get the most money you should be getting back, or again, you're going to get refunded for whatever fees you paid for their services. So very similar to H&R Block. TaxAct, like TaxSlayer, is a little more affordable. They've got more plans. The one big thing that's very different from TaxAct and the other services I've talked about is that free one-on-one support is offered with every single plan, even the free plan. If you're looking here, this is live tax advice. That actually costs $60. That's like over the phone on a video. So that costs money, but you can actually chat using TaxAct with a tax professional, and that chat feature and that question, like email response feature, is free according to CNBC. And so if you really know that you need help, TaxAct might be the best option for you because it looks just as simple. Again, I haven't filed with them. It looks just as user-friendly as the other two big programs that are made to be user-friendly, like H&R Block and TurboTax, but it offers that extra help at no additional cost. Unless, of course, you want that video or live kind of feature where you're face-to-face with someone or on the phone. The only con with TaxAct is that even this free version, if you're filing a state return, they charge you for the state return. They list that as a con, but I know with TurboTax, I've always had to pay for state returns. So I don't know if you guys have used anything where you guys get a free return with that. For Minnesota, I've always had to pay for my return. So for me, that's not like a huge con. Like, well, yeah, I had to pay for it last year. I paid for it every year since I was 16. To me, it's not a big con, but for you, if you filed somewhere, done your state taxes, and you haven't had to pay a fee, that might be something that you are kind of steered away from. And this, it looks like it's $40 per state filed on the free version, and it's a little bit more for all the other ones. That's good to know. Keep in mind also that you have to file per state that you made money in. So if you made money in more than one state, like we talked about earlier with Cash App, if you worked in Minnesota and Wisconsin, you would have to file for each state, and then you'd be paying. Obviously, it's going to rack up. So keep those things in mind. Again, TaxAct was the last one I'm going to be going through. These are 5 big services right now. They're not the best services. CNBC says best. I'm just going to say they're 5 of the top ones, 5 of the most popular ones that if you were to Google and see where you could file your taxes, they're probably going to be the first 5 that pop up for most people on a Google search. And that's just because they've been around a little bit longer than everyone else, or they're a little more user-friendly like these platforms have been, and therefore are just more popular. You should take a very, very good look at all these websites. If you're unsure of which one to use, again, go through everything that I walked through, all the good, all the bad, and see what best fits your situation. I hope you find something that you love and that is easy for you and helps you through this process as seamlessly as possible. Leave any questions or comments for me down below, and I will see you guys in my next video.